Hello, grade 7 students. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Today, we're covering 7E Right Part 1. Are you ready? Prepare your textbooks and tools, and let's start. By the end of today's video, I expect you to be able to first, recognize the purpose of writing an email accurately, and second, locate phrases used to express obligation and give and ask for advice in an email. As a teenager, do you face any problems? I'm pretty sure you do. Sometimes these problems have to do with family, sometimes with friends or school. This means you need to seek someone's advice. So, do you usually ask for advice? Who do you usually ask for advice and why? Do you follow their advice? Please open your student books on page 97. Before we do the actual writing, we're going to read an email and analyze its parts. This will help you understand how to structure your own email and what ideas to include. First, we're going to skim a text. Do you remember how we skim and why? Skimming is a way to read quickly in order to discover the main idea of a text. Look at the text on page 97. Take a few minutes to skim it. What is the layout of the text? It's an email. And how do you know it's an email? Because of the way it's structured, that's right. Who is writing the email? We always find the writer of the email at the very end, and here it is someone called Peter. Who's Peter writing to? He's writing to Tom, as he's addressing him at the very beginning. What is the relationship between the two? They're most likely friends. Yes. How do you know they're friends? Because the type of information Peter is sharing with Tom is the type of information usually shared between friends. Please skim the email one more time to answer the following question. Why is Peter writing to Tom? Pause the video, answer the question, then unpause the video to check your answer. Welcome back. Did you find out why Peter is writing to Tom? Peter is writing to Tom to ask for his advice. I would like you now to read the text and underline any unknown words. Here are 4 words you might be unfamiliar with: coach, practice, avoiding, and lonely. First word is coach. A coach is a person who teaches and trains the members of a sports team. Do you know any coaches? Would you like to become a coach? Second word is practice. In British English, practice with an S is a verb, while practice with a C is a noun, and it is the act of doing something regularly to improve your skill at doing it. Do you know the proverb, practice makes perfect? Third word is avoiding. To avoid means to keep away from or stop oneself from doing something. The fourth word is lonely. It means to be sad because one has no friends or company. Have you ever felt lonely? Before we analyze the parts of the email, we're going to answer some comprehension questions to ensure your understanding of the email. But first, let's listen to Peter reading his email.
Dear Tom, I hope you're well. I have a really big problem and I need your advice. Last month, I joined the school basketball team. I was very happy about it. I have always wanted to play in a team, and my coach says that I'm really good. The problem is that I don't have time to see my friends. You see, I have to practice every day after school, and I have to do my homework after practice. And at the weekend, I relax and play computer games. I feel so upset because my friends think that I'm avoiding them. It's not fair because I care about them and I feel so lonely without them. What should I do? Stay in the team or leave? I'm a bit confused. Right back soon, Peter.
I would like you now to pause the video to answer the comprehension questions. You can underline the answer or highlight it in your book. Once you answer all the questions, you can unpause the video to check your answers. Welcome back. Time to check your answers. Question 1. What is Peter's problem? Peter joined the school basketball team, but he doesn't have time to see his friends anymore. Question 2. What does Peter do at the weekend? At the weekend, Peter relaxes and plays video games. Question 3. Why are Peter's friends upset? Peter's friends are upset because they think he's avoiding them. Well done, everyone. I would like you now to skim the email one more time and underline or highlight the phrases Peter uses to express obligation and the phrases Peter uses to ask for advice. Take a few minutes to do so. Alright, so what phrases does Peter use to express obligation? He says, I have to practice and I have to do my homework. Which phrases does Peter use to ask for advice? He says, what should I do? What about the phrases Peter uses to express how he feels? Can you find those? Peter says, I feel so upset. I feel so lonely. I'm a bit confused. We're now going to look at the email sent by Tom to Peter. I would like you to skim the email and answer the following question. Why is Tom writing to Peter? Welcome back. Did you find out why is Tom writing to Peter? Tom is writing to Peter to give him advice. Before we analyze the parts of Tom's email, we're going to answer some comprehension questions to ensure your understanding of the email. But first, let's listen to Tom reading his email.
Dear Peter, thank you for your last email. First of all, I think that you should explain to your friends that you like hanging out with them. It's important for them to know that. You must also tell them about all the things you have to do every day. You have a very busy schedule, and I'm sure they will understand you. You shouldn't leave the team because it's something you like. But do you always have to play computer games at the weekend? You mustn't forget that you should spend some time with your friends as well. I hope everything goes well. Bye for now, Tom.
I would like you now to pause the video to answer the comprehension questions. You can underline the answer or highlight it in your book. Once you answer all the questions, unpause the video to check your answers. Welcome back. Time to check your answers. Question 1. What is Tom's advice? Tom advises Peter to explain to his friends that he likes hanging out with them. Question 2. Should Peter leave the team? Tom advises Peter not to leave the team because it's something Peter likes. Question 3. What else should Peter do? Tom thinks Peter shouldn't always play computer games at the weekend and spend some time with his friends instead. I would like you to skim the email again to identify the phrases Tom uses to give advice and the phrases he uses to express obligation. Take a few minutes to do so. Alright, so what phrases does Tom use to give advice? Tom says, you should explain. You shouldn't leave. You should spend. Which phrases does Tom use to express obligation? He says, you must also tell, do you always have to play, and you mustn't forget. Skim the email one more time to find the phrase Tom uses to encourage Peter. Found it? Tom says, I hope everything goes well. Let's check the parts of the email. As you know, we start with the greeting. Here, it is Dear Peter. Since this is an informal email, you could also start with hi or hello. Then, you open with a set phrase. Tom, for example, opened his email with, thank you for your last email. You can also say, how are you? Or, I hope you're doing well. Then, we move to the main part, which also includes 3 parts. In the first part, you give advice. Say what your friend should or shouldn't do. In the second part, you express rules and obligations. Say what your friend must, mustn't, has to, or doesn't have to do. In the third part, you encourage your friend. Finally, close with a set phrase and your name underneath. Examples of signature endings are take care, talk to you soon, or keep in touch. I would like you now to put your thinking caps on and think about the following questions. Do you think the advice given by Tom is helpful? Would you have advised Peter differently? Please open your workbook on page 103. I'm going to fill in the writing plan using Tom's email to show you how you're supposed to fill it in with your own ideas later. In the next video, you're going to fill it in by yourself. Let's fill it in together. Greeting. Dear Peter. Open with a set phrase. Thank you for your last email. Main part, giving advice. Say what your friend should or shouldn't do. I think you should explain to your friends that you like hanging out with them. You shouldn't leave the team because it is something you like. Expressing rules and obligations. Say what your friend must, mustn't, has to, or doesn't have to do. You must tell your friends all about the things you have to do every day. You mustn't forget that you should spend more time with your friends. Encouraging. I hope everything goes well. Close with a set phrase and your name underneath. Bye for now, Tom. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in upcoming videos.